So let's talk about aspects I do really like between two charts when we're looking at synastry, meaning comparing, putting one chart on top of the other. So it's a way that we can see how people interact with our charts. It's great for compatibility, not just with romance, but with like business as well. You can even look at it with like, so my favorite aspect between two partners would be Venus trine Neptune. I have this natally in my chart, so to have it in synastry would be like almost feeling like this is a romantic dream. This is like, I feel like we met for a reason. It just feels like we're kindred spirits. Kind of reminds me of the movie. Robin Williams was in it, but it was What Dreams May Come. At the end of the movie, sorry to spoil it for you, but she passes away and Robin Williams is like, I know it's you. And she's like, don't worry, you'll know. At the end of the movie, it's like two little kids sitting on a dock. They just like, it's like they remember each other. And like, so to me, Venus trine Neptune, there can be some disillusionment there, meaning like, let's say you think the person is like this super successful person, but they're also like always thinking about their next dream or ideal. You know, there can be some smoke and mirrors with this, but it is a beautiful lineup, especially for synastry, because it is almost like your souls are connecting, but also there's a deep familiarity there. I would also say Sun Moon is a highly favorable aspect, especially for marriage. I would also say too, falling in your partner's seventh house is pretty probable for marriage, as well as when we see personal planets aspecting Saturn. So the reason why I say the Saturn part is because even though Saturn's annoying, it shows us what it takes to be able to be in it for the long run and the long game. Sun conjunct the moon is like there's a deep understanding between these two, and it's almost like astrologers consider it like the holy grail of a marriage indicator, because there is like this almost knowing of the other person on such a deep profound level, because their sun is the same as your moon. So your deep emotional self is how they show up in the world naturally. It's almost like the sun person is like the conscious one and the moon person is the unconscious one, and their identities are just being kind of enmeshed into one. So I do like the sun conjunct the moon in synastry because it's almost like a telepathic knowing of what the other person needs. There's a lot of intuitive understanding because your personality types are very similar. I even think like having conjunctions in general is super powerful because it almost like it binds you to that person in a way. I would also say when somebody's Jupiter is trining the other person's Venus, that's a beautiful aspect in synastry, because Jupiter is expansion, Venus is love, beauty, adoration. There isn't a need here. There isn't a lack of like adoration and like just really adoring each other with this type of aspect. The Jupiter person is most likely very generous, whereas the Venus person is probably very receptive of that, but also like the beauty, and the Jupiter person is the expansion. So it's really a beautiful and expansive aspect, especially for marriage, because I feel like the Jupiter person really like levels up the Venus person. So that means in my mind the Venus person is getting financial gain from the Jupiter person. The other thing with that aspect, Jupiter trine Venus, it's almost like it's insurance that no matter how hard things get, you guys can get through it and have a smile on your face still. There'd be kind of like that love no matter what. So I think there's a lot of positivity around that in synastry. Definitely 10 out of 10. Again, I have to say it. I already said it earlier, but Saturn trine the sun. I would even say a sextile, but I would also even say like Saturn in aspect to Venus. You know what I mean? Because even though that may be challenging or maybe like a boring love life at times, it's what it takes for a relationship really to be able to last long term. It's like a very mature, like what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very mature type energy that aspect brings to a relationship. So it's like somebody who wants to, a couple that would want to like get married, live together, have children together. Like it's serious stuff. It's not like just like, oh, this is just who I hook up with. It's like from the start, this kind of aspect is going to be very serious, very like committed from the get-go. I mean, a harmonious aspect between any personal planets and Saturn is definitely going to be better than like the harder aspects, like the squares or the inconjuncts or like the oppositions. But I mean, even those, I've seen a lot of people in marriage charts get married with a square, like either a square between their sun, so that's 4 signs away, or like a square from their sun to their moon. Like I've seen that in multiple charts, including my parents' chart, my sister and her ex-husband's chart. So you see squares a lot. But I do really like when Saturn is in positive aspect to personal planets, especially the lights like the moon or the sun. Again, it may not be the most exciting relationship, but it's one that like you can rely on and count on. There's a, I would say, a deep sense of loyalty for the most part. I mean, people are people, so even astrology can't always predict that. But those would be some of my favorite synastry. If you want a part 2, comment that below. I'm happy to give you even more. But also, again, like looking, like if you know their ascendant, like looking to see what house does this person's planets land in for me. Like my ex-husband, I was in his 7th house, but he was in my 8th house and my 12th house. So like he was like kind of, it was kind of a crazy situation because I think his Mars was in my 12th house, but like my sun and moon were in his 7th house and we did get married. You know what I mean? So sometimes it can be really positive for one person and then really like not so great for the other person. So I think it's more than just looking at aspects and synastry. Also look at like what planets are falling in each house, and it's going to be different of like what planets are falling in our house versus your house. Definitely look at both.